The poultry industry in Nigeria is a ₦1 trillion business, which is not active enough to meet Nigeria's domestic poultry meat needs. From a peasant and household-oriented breeding of semi-wild chickens, popularly known as native chicken, in the pre-independence era, the Nigerian poultry industry has metamorphosed into modern large-scale production that focuses on hatcheries, layers, and broilers. The poultry production system in Nigeria is three-pronged: the free-range system or extensive mode, the semi-intensive system, and the commercial system or intensive. Poultry industry in Nigeria enjoys a great deal of prominence as a result of being one of the major sources of animal protein supply to Nigerians. Researchers note that the growth of the poultry industry over the past decades has always aligned with the country's economic priorities. The Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO, regards the poultry subsector as the most commercialized of all Nigeria's agricultural subsectors. According to the Poultry Association of Nigeria, PAN, the subsector contributes about 25% of agricultural GDP of the Nigerian economy, with a current net worth of about 1.6 trillion naira. FAO statistics indicate that poultry production in Nigeria amounts up to over 1 billion tons of meat and 3.8 million eggs per year, with a standing population of 180 million birds. About 80 million birds are raised in extensive systems, 60 million in semi-intensive systems, and the remaining 40 million in intensive systems. Based on its market size, Nigeria's egg production is the largest in Africa, followed by South Africa at 540,000 metric tons of eggs. Nigeria is, however, ranked second largest in terms of chicken population, trailing South Africa that has over 200 million birds. A survey conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) with assistance from the World Bank estimates that the 80 million chickens in the extensive free-range system are kept by 6.6 million households. The 60 million chickens in semi-intensive system are kept by 1.3 million households, and there are 17,000 commercial holdings keeping 45 million chickens altogether. Meanwhile, as pointed out by the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, during a meeting with Vice Chancellors of universities on the university-based Poultry Revival Program, the demand situation is estimated at over 200 million birds, while the demand for eggs and meat are about 790,000 metric tons and 1,500,000 metric tons respectively. Currently, the availability of meat and eggs is much lower than demanded. The deficit in egg and meat production are 140,000 metric tons and 1,200,000 metric tons respectively, while the deficit in the number of birds is 35 million, thus leaving a huge demand gap, which unfortunately is met by smuggling.
100% of egg powder was being imported into this country. 75% of frozen chicken was being smuggled into this country. Since the foreign exchange situation, even though we have not been able to create the industry for egg powder, it has started. And the exchange rate has made it increasingly difficult and expensive to continue to smuggle in chicken as it was before. So we have seen some changes in that regard.
It is estimated that over 1.2 million metric tons of undocumented poultry meat is smuggled into Nigeria from its western neighbor by economic saboteurs that the Nigerian government continues to check. While smuggling of poultry products, mainly frozen chicken, is the fiercest enemy of the local poultry farmer, there are other factors militating against the thriving of the poultry industry in Nigeria. These include high production costs, safety concerns due to lack of sanitary controls, and technical constraints in processing and marketing. The high production costs are traceable to the lack of an integrated and automated industrial poultry sector. Indeed, many players in the poultry production business in Nigeria are adjudged to lack reliable access to inputs, including chicks and feed, as well as high costs for veterinary services. There is also the challenge of access of large and small farmers to low-cost, long-tenured finance. In spite of these limitations, the CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, believes that there remains a huge potential for the industry in Nigeria, particularly as the demand for poultry products is expanding as a result of population growth. The Nigerian population is projected at 400 million by 2050, and 280 million are expected to live in the cities, significantly increasing the demand for poultry products.
The policy in principle is a good one, because there is no way such a huge population of people can be fed from outside. It's not a sustainable prospect at all.
In wooing select universities in the country to join the drive to deepen poultry production in Nigeria, Mr. Emefiele explained why the bank had to include the poultry industry in its development finance interventions.
We can see that it is actually possible for us to export food and food items from this country. We have seen it is possible for us to significantly increase local production. We have seen it is quite possible for us as a country to become a net exporter of food.
Thanks to a bouquet of interventions offered by the CBN, the poultry industry in Nigeria is beginning to look up again. Prior to the latest round of intervention and the university-based poultry production program in 12 universities across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, the CBN had made appreciable effort at collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to address the challenges in the sector. Specifically, the bank, under its Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme (CAS), released the sum of 35.9 billion naira to 166 poultry projects. Similarly, 433 farmers and 112 projects received CBN intervention to the tune of 507 million naira and 238 million naira respectively under the Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme (AGSMICE), funded by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee. The bank in 2019 also financed the Pioneer Egg Powder Production Company in Nigeria to the tune of 2 billion naira under the Differentiated Cash Reserves Requirement Real Sector Support Facility window. As part of its renewed strategy in the sector, the bank in July 2019 played host to select universities in the country to partner with them in a pilot scheme tagged University-Based Poultry Revival Program, aimed at further addressing the demand gap and unlocking the potential of Nigerian poultry producers through the involvement of universities. The bank is in partnership arrangement with 12 universities across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, 5 of which have been selected for the pilot phase of the project.
Those universities have already started the pilot phase. University of Ilorin, University of Science and Technology in Port Harcourt, University of Nigeria in Nsukka, ABU in Zaria, and of course the University of Agriculture in Abeokuta. So we'll be working with them to see how we can develop this value chain. The plan and the vision of the governor is to eliminate the importation of all poultry products by the end of 2023.
The objectives of the partnership are to produce chicken meat and egg, to reduce importation and close the existing demand and supply gap, raise a new crop of agropreneurs in modern poultry production, provide infrastructure that would support the sustainable production of poultry, and reduce pressure for foreign exchange through import substitution by local poultry production. No doubt, the university-based poultry production model holds great promise because of the existing infrastructure, experience, and human assets available to the institutions, which will enable production at reduced cost and in a competitive manner. While the aforementioned are the ultimate goals of the CBN, its main intermediate objective is to ensure that poultry production is increased, as well as end the smuggling of poultry products into Nigeria. With support coming from the CBN and the fiscal authorities, it is expected that the intervention in the poultry sector will yield the desired benefits of job creation, food sufficiency, and elimination of the importation of poultry products by 2023, sustainable domestic supply of eggs and poultry meat across the country, enhanced government revenue, and support the government's policies, such as the federal government's ongoing school feeding program.